You know how addicting that game is.
So hi everybody, hi, welcome to episode 19 of Streamer in the Spotlight. I am truly honoured to have an amazing guest here today. He has literally inspired this podcast to start off. He does the amazing midweek during the week, and he does so much more, and we're going to find out during this podcast. So everybody, can we all welcome in Dutch today?
Woo!
Hello.
Absolutely fantastic to have you here, mate. Honestly, it truly is an honour, mate. And thank you for being the inspiration for this podcast, mate. The work you do is phenomenal, and I can't wait for the rest of the people to find out more about what you do. And also, everybody, I want to welcome in, obviously, Vin, and to welcome in Pinky. So Pinky's had a nice little break, so she's back in. And Vin is not here last week, but he's back again, and he's going to make everyone laugh, hopefully, and hopefully stay focused for the podcast. That's the biggest challenge here. So, guys, we're going to kickstart with Vin asking the first question to Drew. Drew, this is all about you. So if you don't feel that you can answer a question, just tell us. No, move on. So let's go for it. Vin, you're up first.
Yeah, so Drew, how did you start streaming or podcasting?
Yeah, so it's quite a simple one, actually. So I was originally on Twitter. Everyone knew me originally from creating custom consoles or custom controllers or doing awesome designs on things like that. And I knew quite a few of the, should we say, the podcasting heavyweights at the time just from doing that. So the likes of Colt Eastwood and Dealer Gaming from RDX and the Iron Lords and Randall Thor and Jez Cord. So I knew all of those guys anyway in the background. And it was just one day I put up a post on Twitter and just simply said, I'm looking to kind of try and do some panel member stuff, see how I feel like. And just basically shouted out a load of people and just said, listen, if you need a guest anytime, just drop us a message and I'll be happy to kind of jump on and try my hand at it. And I just got a wave of inboxes from pretty much everybody.
Amazing. Amazing.
It was a good start, but it was over the course of 1 week. I was on RDX, Iron Lords, Gaming Beyond the Box, and numerous others.
In 1 week?
It was absolutely awesome.
And that was all in 1 week?
All in the space of a week, yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Just absolutely amazing.
What way to throw yourself into it?
Yeah,
I'll see how I get on. Yeah, do one every day of the week. There you go. That looks brilliant. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Pinky.
Yes, I mean, that's one hell of a start to get into things. I'm genuinely astounded by it. But what did you find was the most nerve-wracking thing about throwing yourself in as a panelist for a podcast? What were you most worried about?
For me, it was just trying to get my points across and my opinions across in the way that I wanted to, and not like stumbling on my words every 2 moments. Especially because I'd not streamed, I hadn't been a streamer or done any form of streaming before that, so it was kind of just trying my luck, trying to get a conversation over without stumbling, and it's just those nerves and things like that. And I think we all suffer from anxieties and things like that, quite a lot. And I do have stutter issues at times and things like that. So I do stutter on my words or struggle to get words out when I'm really concentrating. So
I think we all got that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's just that was the initial struggle was just like getting over those first time nerves. But then you kind of pick up on all the, and when you realize it is literally just a chat with friends. And I've always said the same thing to anybody who's guested with us. It's a case of just try and ignore the chat for the first time.
Yeah.
When you're being a guest for the first time, just try and ignore the chat. Pretend that nobody's there and it's just us in a room and it's just your friends. And then beyond that, then you can kind of start getting into the talking to the chat and having a laugh with the chat and things at the same time. But it's that initial first streamer's nerves, and I think even as he's a regular streamer, ignoring podcasts, I think that's one of the things you need to get past is just that initial kind of I'm on camera, there we go.
Yeah. That overthinking and that worry. How did you get over it yourself? Was it just a case of like throwing yourself into it? Did you do research? Did you plan anything? How did you handle that?
Yeah, for me, it was just there was no plan or anything like that. Personally, I think the leg up that I've had is I've been working in sales and I've been conversing with people on a day-to-day job like for years, for like over a decade now. So especially when you're in a high-level sales job, it becomes a little bit more, for me, much easier to have that conversation. The harder part is just getting used to doing it on camera, and people seeing your face and talking to you kind of face to face, should we say, on a live stream like this for a change.
Yeah.
I think that the hardest part overall is when you're starting off, and I think the hosting is harder than it is being a panel member. When you're hosting, there's a lot more pressure behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more, because you've not only are you trying to talk and then you're trying to direct the flow of conversation and things like that, but then you're also trying to start it and then transition to another scene, or then put the gameplay clip up if you've got gameplay or X, Y, and Z, and then you forget things, and then you're just like, and then you've got technical issues. So I much prefer being a guest. Is so much easier. It's so much nicer and more relaxing.
So I've not had the pleasure yet, but I can imagine.
I can totally relate to that, especially when you've got people like Vin on. You know what I mean? I know how difficult it can be, eh?
Well, we have some problems at the start as well, right?
Always problems. Always
God,
problems,
yeah.
isn't there? So that's what I want to lead into. So obviously the midweek, and for those in chat that don't know about the midweek mix-up, you guys are honestly missing out. Drew has been doing that. How long? It's been what, a year and a half, if not longer now.
2 years, yeah. We're on
years?
to episode 100 this Wednesday.
Wow. Wow, absolutely crazy. So, guys, if you haven't seen it, honestly, check out. So, obviously, Dutch's YouTube channel is at the bottom of the screen now, guys. Honestly, check it out. Any information you want, it's pretty much these guys talk about it on a weekly basis. So, you obviously got the weekend one as well that you do, because General C's in the chat as well. And you do the weekend one with General C. So, guys, honestly, when I say this guy is busy and he's the influence for this podcast, when you see his podcast, it will make full sense, I promise you. But so Dutch, you were a panel member on other people's channels. So then where did the midweek mix-up come from? Where did your baby stem from?
Yeah, so the baby, to be honest, it was and obviously Vin knows Erwin, but it was a case of me, I knew me, Pat, Chambellan, Boxenberger,
Thanks, Jen.
and
Sorry.
a few others. And a few others. We were all, and again, this is after being a panel member on a few shows, and I'd really got the kind of bug for podcasting, and I loved kind of the flow of conversation with friends and things like that. And I had a kind of a word with these guys who were already in a kind of a DM chats with each other anyway, talking about games. And we always on party chats just did exactly the same thing. We'd talk about games, we'd talk about what was happening, we'd just have a laugh with each other. I thought, well, why don't we try and do this kind of on our own and create our own show? And that's still, I have never took it down. It's still up. The first podcast show's on there, and it's horrific, and we all look nervous, and it's stuttering, and we're all like super serious and like really uptight, and yeah, it wasn't pleasant watching initially, but but as more the shows went on, the more comfortable we got with each other, and we could just relax and have fun. And that was one of the things. Those initial shows were super nervy. It was just chats with friends essentially. It was like, okay, we'll try. What's the easiest one to go on and do this podcast on? Asked around, and they were like, "Oh, well, StreamYard's super easy. Like, it doesn't cost anything to start. When you get bigger, you can choose to get a kind of paid subscription one if you want." So we just started off with a 4-person, and then we added Broyer, Belgium lad, and then later on, of course, added Vin, and and a few more that have either been and gone, had to, or so on and so forth. So as people have kind of come in and out, we've added some more panel members and things, but it always stemmed with just love for video games with friends, love to having a chat, creating our own show, and then just going with the flow. And the more time went on, and the better it got, and the more interesting it got, and the more fun we were having, then we started I started to invest more time into, okay, now we'll have an overlay. Okay, now we'll do this.
Love that. The way that it developed. Love that. So that's this question I want to ask you, because obviously I understand the difficulties you're having that. The one I wanted to mention was the panel members that you had. Obviously, you've had quite a few join, unfortunately, for other foreseen circumstances, leave. How have you managed that? How have you managed to have a core group and say, look, guys, this week I can only allow X number of people in. You're going to be the people in it, and unfortunately, you guys this week will have to miss out. How have you managed that? How have people reacted to that?
Yeah, so for us, it's been quite the opposite. We've always had an abundance of panel members, and I've never kind of shirked having loads of people on. So we've, especially kind of for the biggest stream I think we had was our first birthday stream, which was something like 17, 18, maybe more people, and obviously you can only have a limit of 10 on StreamYard, so it was literally rolling in and out, and then and it was for the guests, it was even worse, because I was like, thank you so much for coming and celebrating for like our first big like celebration, but we're gonna have to move you along.
Out you go, in with the next. Love that.
Yeah, pretty much it. But they were all like, literally, you could see them all queuing at the bottom, ready to come in, and I was like, oh God, this is gonna be a nightmare. But it was funny. But panel members wise, it's just, I've always been the same, and it's the same week to week. We've got an abundance of awesome panel members, either full time or part time. Vinny's still there as a part time whenever he wants to come back. He's more than welcome as a panel member.
Or when Jen is talking shit about Sonic.
Exactly, yeah, you just come in to talk about Sonic. Or Erwin, for instance, who's just been absolutely rammed with work of recent weeks, and he's just far too tired to jump on these days. So in those circumstances, I've always said, and I say this to all my panel members, listen, life comes first, and everything else comes kind of after that. So if you can't make it 1 week, don't worry about it. Just say, listen, I can't make it. We'll always have at least 3 people there, whether it's good or not. If literally everybody is KO'd, then now, these days, I've got no problem in just saying, listen, there is no show this week.
Yep.
In the past, it would have been me scrambling around to try and find somebody to jump in. So, yeah, it's just as long as my panel members know that, if whether it's mental issues, they need a break for mental reasons, or whether it's family issues, or whether it's anything in between, if they do need to take time off, they can just take it. There's no issues there.
Love that. Love that. Vin.
So I've got a question, Drew.
Yeah.
So you are on Prime Gaming, you are on World of Gaming, you're on Midweek Mix-Up, you're fucking everywhere. When do you sleep? When do you sleep?
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's fine. Yeah, this is a strange one. So it's me. I've had this issue for years and years and years and years. But it's only very recently that I know that I've got ADHD and adult autism, which kind of explains why I don't sleep a lot or sleep too much. There is no fine line. So I either do not sleep at all, and I'm just like up until God knows what time. Then I'm like, I best try and get an hour before I go to work. And then, or then there's the complete opposite, and I'm just like, I come in from work and I'm just flat out on the sofa and nothing gets done, and then that's it, and then I'm just asleep.
We had that once on midweek, where you got home from work and you forgot that the show was on.
Yeah, completely.
Wait, you completely forgot?
No, he was sleeping.
Oh, bless.
Vin loves it. Vin is loving it. That's a bit mean, Vin. Come on.
But yeah,
we had some amazing
it's just trying to. I've just got to try and balance myself with the way my mind and my body works, essentially. But if I'm super awake, I'm not going to force myself to try and sleep, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I just put that to use. So if I've got the energy, I may as well stay awake and do something about it. So may as well have fun. If I don't have the energy, then I don't. And these days, it's a lot easier to say no to things than it is to say yes, because now I can kind of pick and choose those things. But in the past, I would struggle to say no to something, and when I was absolutely out of energy, I'd still be trying to podcast, and that's when I recommend people don't. If you're completely drained, if you're completely drained, do not kind of commit to anything, and don't feel pressurized into continuing with something. If you can't make a show, as any host will tell you, if you literally can't make a show, they'd rather you just say that, and they'll reorganize and just say that's fine, we'll just get somebody else and see you next week or something like that. Than it is like just not turning up. So yeah, it's just juggling my own mind and knowing when I'm just need that break and knowing when I don't. 9 times out of 10, I've got far too much energy and I'm awake all the time, and I probably run on a day-to-day basis on probably 3.5 or 4 hours sleep, if that.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'm dead if I don't get like 8 hours sleep. Jesus.
Pinky, do you actually have a question for about?
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to admit, I was going to go on something that you mentioned there. Do you want me? Am I okay to go with that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
It's a bit of a touchy subject, but it is something that I find quite interesting. How do you handle your diagnosis? So, adult ADHD and autism, that must have been quite the shock to you. How do you handle living with it?
Yeah, so it's not so much to be honest, you would think it was a shock, but it's not so much. It was more, now I understand. So I took a week off or something when I kind of had been through all the doctor stuff and went through all the diagnosis stage. And then I was like, right, okay, now I'm kind of come to terms with it. Now I understand what it is that I've been like since I was a child. And it was like daft things when I was a child where I would, even in school, that now makes sense. But back then it was just this child who doesn't listen. But back in, it was like literally in school, like sitting there and they'd be like, who's making that silly noise? And that would be Goosen. He's making that noise. I'm like, okay. They knew it was me. They didn't even have to ask it was me. It was me just going and tapping on the desk and making silly noises and things like that. Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's him. And then they're like, oh no, he's a smart kid, but when he's interested in something, he's hyper focused. When he's not interested, he literally switches off. They're like, okay, so all of these random things, and even now living as an adult, I do so many random things, and that people don't say off stream. That no, so I still walk around the house and occasionally make silly noises or just start clapping for no reason or just doing random shit. But yeah, it was just going, okay, finally I know why I'm so bloody weird. And why I am the way I am, and why I don't sleep often, or why I hyper focus on something if it interests us, or like even if I'm doing things for the podcast, like overlays and things like that. If I'm really, really interested in making them and I want them like looking super sharp or really cool and things like that, then I will literally just hyper focus into that project until it's complete. I won't take breaks or anything like that. I won't, like most people would do. They'd put the keyboard down, they'd go and get some food, and they'll come back. I'd just literally, from its start to its end, I would be sat in the same place until it's finished. I wouldn't be getting up for a drink or getting food. I'd just do it. Yeah. If I wasn't that interested in it, I was just making something quickly to get it done. I'd just like, and then I'd go and watch the TV for a bit, and I'd forget it was doing it on the thing, and then I'd go downstairs, get a drink, and then come back. Okay. Oh yeah, that's finished. Yeah, forgot about that. So yeah, it's kind of known now. I know what these things are.
Makes more sense.
So Dutch, what do you like more than about the whole thing? You know, is it more the gaming side or is it more the technical side? What you're doing, you know, creating stuff and the how you say that the technical things about systems and the channel and stuff.
I like them equally as in. I think the reason I like them equally at the same time is because I love the artistry behind it, and I love how things work, and finding out how things work. So Like if someone just showed you a really pretty picture and it looked really cool and the lighting was cool, a lot of people would just say, "Oh, that looks really pretty." But then you sit behind it, and for instance, the most simplified version of saying this, and a lot of you might have seen this recently, was the new update for Fortnite the other day, which added some awesome new lighting features from Unreal's new engine.
Yeah.
And the difference was in the previous version, it just kind of looked really cool and it looked nice. But these new lighting features added to it meant that it looked like actual real-time day and night lighting. So the entire composure of the picture completely changes entirely. And it actually looks a little bit more realistic because of it. So that's the kind of beauty of the technology. It allows the games that you love not only to look better, but to be a little bit more realistic and just give that a little bit more ambience to it. So I find it equal parts more fascinating that we get to play these gorgeous games and playing these gorgeous games as I do the creation of it and the artwork that goes behind it.
Yeah.
Love that. Pinky?
So I want to kind of go back on what Vinny said there, because I think I wanted to know a little bit more about it. You get involved in a hell of a lot of different projects, obviously with the podcasting, things like that, which means you've had your fingers in a lot of different pies, like system-wise.
Not only his fingers.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew it. The minute I said it, I knew he was going to go there. So...
keep going. Let's keep going. Ignore him.
System-wise and like streaming platform-wise, what do you find is your preference for streaming-wise? Is it things like Twitch? Do you find that easier? Is it YouTube that's easier? What's your preference?
Yeah, I think it depends. For me, my preference is YouTube. But that's because that's where I've built the channel, like primarily. I think wherever somebody builds their home base initially is essentially where they should stay. I've always said this to first-time streamers as well. If it's something where you're looking to get into and you're looking to get rewarded quicker, Twitch is your place.
Yeah.
If it's something where you want to be there for the long time, YouTube's your place.
Okay, interesting.
The reason for that is Twitch have a very, and it sounds very, very basic, but Twitch are very easy to monetize on in comparison to YouTube. Twitch, you've got a set of parameters that are very hard initially to get to, but once you've got that steady flow of like hardcore little followers that watch you all the time, you get to that initial Twitch affiliation pretty easily. Beyond that, partnership, of course, we know we've spoke about this just before the show went live as well. Partnerships are much harder kind of egg to crack, but partnership probably on par with what YouTube is to get monetization on there. So for YouTube's monetization, minimum of on YouTube, you need a minimum of 1,000 followers and a minimum of 4,000 watch hours before you start monetization. So it takes, so you've got a whole chunk where it can take somebody a year, 2 years, 3 years, even sometimes to get to that initial monetization stage. And even then, you're not truly really favored until you maybe get to 5,000, 10,000, and then it starts pushing you properly. So it's a long grind one on YouTube, but it comes with its benefits, of course. So Twitch is very easy for streaming and things like that at first.
Yeah.
It's a lot better for fan interaction. So when you've got an awesome group of followers and things like that on Twitch, you've got like sound effects and things like that you can put on that everyone can just pester you with, like we used to do for Generality all the time. And
it's got to be done. It's got to be done if there's sound effects.
But then you've got like I say on YouTube, you don't have that type of thing. So the most you can do is, as and when you're monetized, is give them emojis and things like that can spam in chat. Channel memberships and stuff. So the fan interaction's far better on Twitch. For video content and things like that, long form video content, it's definitely better on YouTube. Because of course you get I think a much higher percentage of ad revenue than you would do now. And I know YouTube's monetization overall is far more favorable in the long run, but I would say Twitch is, if I was to tell anybody who wanted to just do game streaming, even now, stick to Twitch. If you're planning on doing a multitude of different things than YouTube, but it's a much longer grind.
I love that. Love that. We got a question for you, Drew, in the chat, and I'm going to ask this one. So Camp has asked, how long did it take you to grow that super sexy beard?
It's a long one that keeps growing. Yeah, for me, it is. I could. Right now, it's the longest it has been, which is why it keeps going like this. But it probably took me about 7 months to get it to this length. But I could probably chop it off and within 4 months have it back to the same length again.
I'm sorry,
werewolf.
months?
He's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't sleep, you get more beard.
Yeah.
You hear this, Fleety?
Oh yeah, all right, okay.
7
But
months.
guys, so we've got some. Obviously, has anyone got more questions about the podcast or about Drew streaming or about his community stuff before we move on to the personal questions?
Yeah.
Let's go, then. Vin.
Yeah.
So, Drew, how did you come up with the name Wandering Dutch?
Quite simple. Obviously, being an initial Dutchman, even though you Dutchies still take the mick out of us for not sounding Dutch at all. No, especially my father, but when we were younger, with my dad working in the airline industry, we moved around a lot. So we travel a lot with him for work. Of course, we settled in the Netherlands until kind of my dad started working for BA, which was British Airways, British Caledonian at the time, before it was British Airways.
Oh. Okay.
And then we moved back over to here, where my mother was originally from. And that's where we've kind of settled down since then. So it was wandering, as in the literal term, wandering around the place and going to different locations, and Dutch because that's, of course, my original nationality. So
He shaves it every morning and it grows back by lunch. That's what General said.
Love that.
It's a general.
Pinky?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite questions to ask. What's your biggest bugbear about streaming or podcasting? What do you find the most difficult thing to deal with?
Other than the spam bots in chat, easily by far, it's easily technical issues, ones that you can't foresee and you can't prevent. It could be your computer absolutely shitting the bed, or it could be network issues in the local area, or it could just not work. Some random bit of software on the computer's updated and you don't know what it is that's updated or what it is that's broke, but all of a sudden nothing works. We've had it midstream where just for some reason, for absolutely no reason, audio just cut out middle of the stream, so it was fine, but audio cut out and it had defaulted itself back to original settings, but we didn't know because it doesn't give you a heads up. So I was just sitting there going, why is there no audio? Why is there absolutely no... I think it was Vin who was on that podcast at the time.
Yeah.
And everything cut out, dead.
Yeah, I was
Nobody
it
hear
was,
anything.
I think I was watching it.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know,
Mr.
maybe that.
It was with Joe, Mr. Bedbit from Trophy
Yeah.
Room. And it was like more than an hour with issues. And then when it finally started working, we asked Joe if he still got time. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and then so without doubt, technical issues, and it's not the easy ones where you're just like, oh, my internet's died, right? We're going to start like 20 minutes later. We'll get it back and running. It's like the ones like Fleety's had before this one, where he's expensive PC just will not boot or something like that. It's like things you can't foresee.
Yeah.
But those audio issues with either OBS or anything like that, God, that can wind you up.
It's frustrating, especially when you don't know what to do. Because it's like,
Yeah.
it's not even as though you could try and guess or force your way through it. It's like, no, I have no idea.
It just goes.
Computer says
Yeah.
no.
Figure it out.
Love
Yeah.
that. Vin?
So, what do you think is now your biggest achievement, streaming or podcasting wise? What's the thing you're the most proud of that you've done so far?
Built the community that we've got, without doubt. The community and the friends we've got and the people we've helped get into streaming, or people we've helped build confidence I think that's one of the biggest things I love to see across the board. And it's not even just panel members or guests. It's even just people in the community where we've helped kind of build their confidence up or give them a place to what they would call home as a community and feel kind of comfortable and safe, just interacting and having fun and calling each other friends and things like that. That's my biggest accomplishment. It's something that you'd never expect when you grow something from scratch up into what it is now. And we're not even that large. We're semi-large. I mean, like, with 1,700 subs now, and so getting towards that 2K mark. But you don't realize just how many people, especially when you start getting DMs and things that are like thanking you thanks for doing this, and like it's been through a hard time and this has really helped us and things. And you don't realize the impact you have on people just by having fun with your friends and chatting and it's kind of this community you've built around it. That's the thing I'm most proud of, without a shadow of a doubt.
Love that, mate. I do remember being in one of your community nights, and I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to embarrass them, but they poured their heart out to you, mate, and they literally were thanking you, saying, I never would have had the confidence ever to talk in a big group of people like this, yet alone game with them and have fun. And they literally were really appreciative of all the effort. And it was just literally by your community and everybody, not just including yourself, obviously everybody involved, to make them feel welcome. And it was so nice hearing that. And I listened to it. I was like, do you know what? Fair play to him to point his eye out, but also fair play for you giving him that platform to come out of the shell. And I think you and your community do absolutely fantastic at that. I really do. Really good bunch of guys and ladies. Really good bunch.
It's what we try to cultivate as well. And like, since day one, if there's been literally any bad actors, which thankfully I think there hasn't been any, but even in our chats on YouTube or anything, if there's any bad actors, they just get a swift ban. They don't, like, there is no yes or no's. If anybody starts any of that childishness, which you're out. This is a place for people to feel comfortable, have fun, work with each other in chat, and like, we don't mess around. If we see there's anything that's going to kind of affect that flow and kind of put in bad vibes for anybody, then they're gone. There is no second chances. It sounds a bit harsh at times, but when you've got the people that you have in chat that are having such a good time on day to day, and then there's just one random person that you've never seen before starts acting the fool, we don't have time for it. It's just give people a nice, safe place to have fun, have great friends and great friendships. And then even outside of us, they've got people that can go out and speak to, that they've now met through our community, that can go and game with and things like that. And that knock-on effect's brilliant.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
They've made friends.
Yeah.
Vin, you're up.
So is there anything you think you can still improve on?
There's no such thing as perfect. We've got lots to improve on yet. We're still early, still relatively early days, I think. I still want to improve on. Obviously, we built the Collective, which is a group of awesome shows and podcasts and creators. And I just want to, and I still want to do more for them to kind of help them grow and things like that. And I think there's far more to it yet. So our ultimate end goal as a podcast or even a community is to turn it into a non-profit media company, which will not only kind of be the house of myself and the podcast, but anybody who wants to get into creating for the first time and things like that is being able to give them the support to do that, and being an actual company that does that.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing goal.
Really cool.
It's a really great goal. Pinky?
Okay, well, I want to go a little bit more on that. What do you see as the biggest challenges in achieving that goal? Because I have to admit, from any kind of new streamer, that is like a godsend.
Yeah.
What do you see being the hardest challenge with that?
It's finding. I've always said this. So the ones I've cultivated and the ones I've got on straight away into the Collective of people with the right attitudes, but also non-toxic personalities. Which is something that you identify kind of in a short period of time. You just, especially for me, I sit in the background and watch these shows or watch these people over a very, should we say, over a course of a month, maybe 2 months, see how they interact with their community, see how they interact with other people, what their personalities are like and things like that. And just make sure that they, should we say, good people with their communities, and And Fleety, it's one of the easiest things to see on your stream as well, by the way, is the way that you interact with your community is awesome.
Thank you.
It's exactly. To be honest, I'd get you into the collective immediately, but you've got an awesome family of community already, so I don't want to disrupt that flow.
I just borrow a bit.
I don't want to disrupt that flow.
Love it.
But it's for me, it's just identifying the right people. Once you've got the right people down, and you know that that's something that they really want to do, then it's simply just provide them all the tools and the help they can do, whether that's providing them the overlays or making them first time channel intros or little video clips or anything they need to just get the basics down, give them technical advice. And a lot of people think you need super expensive equipment to get going, and I'm like, no, like this is like a £50 microphone. Like it sounds expensive, but it's not like the high end stuff.
No.
You can even get much cheaper ones. Just make sure you've got one of these nice little foam things on it so it doesn't kind of echo around a bit, and you don't have to go ultra expensive. Yes, that's what that's for.
This is the thing, you don't know unless someone tells you. Like, I wonder why these all have this on there.
I had it on this mic as well, but it broke off. So
Vin probably tried to use it as a condom. Let's be honest. No, he probably tried that.
I have such a weenie, and that thing was like this big, but it was on this iron thing and then around it.
Yes, yeah. And so it's simple advice is essentially what we do initially, and then it's kind of and I've sat through hours upon hours of kind of video calls as well with creators, just saying, okay, so like running through the algorithm for YouTube, or okay, what else can we do on your Twitch in order to make it a little bit more interactive, or what kind of overlays do you want? Have you got do you need any transitions? Like what is it that you need in order for you to feel more comfortable with, and how can you think your podcast can improve, or how can your stream improve? What would you like? And kind of go down that route. So, but initially, it's just about making sure everybody is super comfortable with streaming. Give them the advice and the tips and the kind of direction in order to be comfortable. Because initially, one of the first hurdles is any normal streamer, when you're ignoring podcasts, is getting used to talking to yourself.
Yep.
Yep.
Just talking, just getting used to just talking to absolutely nobody. You'd have nobody watching you in stream, nobody there. Just get used to just waffling on, talking about nonsense forever. Eventually someone will appear in chat, and then you can have that conversation with them, and then another person appears in chat, and then you can have a conversation with both of them, and it just continues to grow. And then that's when you get your confidence. And then after that, then you start getting a nice little group of people in the chat there, and you feel a little bit happy, and it's like having a group of friends round, and it's that confidence booster. But for us, for a collective, initially it's getting everybody's confidence up, getting them all the materials and all the advice they need in order to be successful, and then just making sure we cultivate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you spend your time in their streams to help bolster them as well? You personally, I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Every week. So, and this is another thing. So, in between my podcasts, I'm always in all of their chats. So, even if I'm in a podcast, I'm in a chat for a podcast. So, I'm always in the background. I'm always watching, and I watch all of their stuff, no matter what it is, no matter how long it's on for.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he's also on every Twitch channel if you're streaming. So, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm always there.
How do you not go insane with that many conversations and streams that you have to pay attention to all the time? Like, that's one hell of a commitment.
Yeah, but it's also great seeing them so like hyped, and when you come into the chat and then you're sharing out their stuff, so you're bringing new people around and new audience members and things like that. They're always super hyped, and like you can see them kind of sometimes get flustered when you get like an influx of an additional 4, 5, 6, 7 people kind of jump into the chat. And other times they're just like super hyped, and they're like the hype, it gets them all jacked up and ready to go. And so no, it's cool. I like seeing the reactions of all of my guys and seeing them happy and having fun. That's essentially as good as for me. I don't care what it is that they're doing. Even Vin, when he's streaming, like it's great. Like he's Uncharted streams and things like that. It's great, man. Good
Love
stuff.
That. Love that. So, guys, we are against the clock as always, so we do need
Yep.
to move on to personal questions, or else we'll never get through them.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Vin. I'm sorry, Vin. But for those in chat, now you can fully understand just from that 40 minutes alone from that conversation is exactly why he is an influence to me and this podcast. The guy is a gentleman and he helps any way he can. And I guarantee that if you're in chat and you need any help and you DM Dutch after this, I guarantee he'll help you any way he can. So we are going to get to know you a bit more now. We're going to go to the personal side of it.
but before we continue, please subscribe to his channel. The whole week will be a charity stream. So either on YouTube or one of the Twitch collective partners, everybody's gonna collect some charity. How you say that? Money for the charities.
Donations.
Yeah, donations. Yeah, sorry. For Villa Joop for the European side or the mental what's it called?
Special effect.
Special effect. Sorry, yeah. Special effect
Yeah.
for the UK.
Yeah.
So please, guys, follow this guy. Go to everybody on the Twitch's YouTube things and donate as much as you can, because we're gonna have a great week.
And put it in your
Yes.
Discords, guys. Put it in your Discords to promote it. So, Dutch, after this, mate, if you don't mind, if we can get the links and stuff, we'll share it. Share it with everyone on our chats as well. But yeah, so great shout out there, Vin. I was going to wait till the end.
Oh,
But
it's busy.
he wanted to do it.
Look how busy it is. You have to do it now. It's busy.
Get those people in
Love
right now.
Love that.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Love you all.
yeah. Oh dear, I love it. Vince done now, guys. So I'm just going to mute him. So anyway, so guys, we're going to go on to the personal questions now. So we're going to get to know Dutch, the person behind the podcast, the guy, this caring guy. We're going to learn more about you. So Pinky, if you could kickstart us with the first set of personal questions, please.
Yep. So it's always a bit tricky going down the personal route, 'cause obviously there's little lines and boundaries people don't want to cross. So I'll start with hopefully a safe one. How many siblings do you have, and are you close to them?
Yes, I've got two. Technically, here's a fun fact. So both me and my sister were actually originally twins. So my sister was a twin, and then her other half, of course, as you know, sometimes they don't make it at childbirth. So that one was gone, and I was also a twin, and I was the strongest out of the two that made it. So technically, there would have been 5.
Oh wow!
But 3 of us made it. So, so yeah,
Oh, that's
so
crazy.
it's my older sister, me, and then my younger brother. So yeah, there's 3 of us.
Are you close to them? Very close to. You
My
get along
brother, so as naturally with siblings. So my sister lives down south, so she's London based now.
Yeah.
So close-ish, but in terms of time to time, we don't really speak to each other that much, but close enough to have a pleasant conversation.
Well? Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah. And in terms of siblings, as you know, like me, brothers, we can clash heads all the time, as you do. So we've clashed heads loads in the past, but I would say we're on common ground now, so we're good.
There was a funny thing you put on Twitter today. So
Yeah, about my brother. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's really strange. So he pretty much looks like a taller version of me, but he's got a little bit more of a spindly beard. So he's bald.
This is really hard, right?
He's got like a wispy little beard, but long. But he's like more of a hands-on labourer kind of guy. Like he works in a factory. He doesn't really do anything like that. He's never been a techie guy. And then like a couple of months back, he messages out the blue and he was like, "Oh, well, I've just got an Xbox and I've been playing Sea of Thieves recently." I was like, "What? Sorry?"
Who are you?
It's the same guy who hasn't played a video game since Pokemon on the Game Boy Color. Like this is
I love that story on Twitter, man. I loved it.
yeah. So but recently, like he messages out the blue, like, "Oh, I've just beat Death's Door." I'm like that's not even an easy game. Like, okay, well done.
Wow.
Fair play.
I like it because it's kind of like a way that you guys are reconnecting because he knows you like it. So it's like, yeah, we can reconnect this way. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Love that. That's brilliant. That is
So
brilliant.
it's mad, but it still baffles me anyway because he's just like this completely labor hands-on guy, loves fixing things like with his hands, like does all the car repairs for the MOTs and things like that, and then he's just out the blue talking about video games, and This is what I'm playing today. I'm like, what is going on? What alternate universe am I in?
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Vin?
Yeah, so do you have any hobbies outside of gaming, podcasting, guesting? What's the other thing? How you call that?
Do you have time? Do you have time for
Do you
anything?
have time?
Do you have time for other hobbies?
Yeah. So, God, I've had loads of hobbies beside that. Naturally, of course, everyone knows this because I'm very artsy anyway. So I like creating things, and that doesn't just extend to consoles or controllers and things, of which I make custom controllers and custom consoles as well, aside from podcasting, which I love doing because, again, that's an entirely different thing. So it's very creative. It's all hand painted. It's all either or spray work or things like that. So I love doing that, but of course that artwork extends to everything. So no matter what it is, I love creating and I love doing all that type of stuff. Yeah, and Fleety's got an awesome one as well from
yeah,
a
an awesome
charity
one.
stream.
Mine's in a case, so I can't show mine off. I love mine.
But yeah, so I love creating things. Aside from that, I used to be very big into downhill mountain biking.
Wow.
Yeah, very big into downhill mountain biking. I worked for a World Cup mountain bike team for a number of years, which was awesome. Knew a lot of World Cup riders and knew a lot of Olympic riders. But I absolutely loved that. I had 2 mountain bikes at one time, but it came to a stage with working a lot, mostly working all the time. And all of the decent mountain bike tracks in the UK are either mainly Scotland, or top end of Scotland, which is quite a distance to go to actually put these expensive bikes to use all the time. So just got rid of them. Probably get back into it in a few years when I've got a little bit more time again. But I loved it, truly loved it. But it came with a lot of broken bones. It came with a lot of cuts and bruises and concussions. I've had plenty of them.
I was about to say, Jesus.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and it was exactly the same as like doing your podcast and things like that. Like it was like a train of friends, all of you on your mountain bike going down the mountain and things like that, and having fun. Even if you just crashed, it would be, as long as like you wouldn't laugh initially. Are you okay? Great. Okay, now we'll laugh.
Take the first, then you laugh.
Yeah. But yeah, that. And then as you get older, of course, you tend to do things a little bit slower. So I don't mind every now and again as well. I love going hiking as well with my friends. So hiking's awesome. Again, it's just getting out, completely disconnecting from absolutely everything, losing signal on your phone, which is brilliant. Just disconnect from everything, and just going for a nice hike up some mountains and things. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yes, you had some amazing pictures back then when you did that with the what's his name?
Yeah. Yeah. That was up the Gables.
Yeah,
in the Lake District.
Oh, lovely,
cool.
lovely.
Hey, Drew sent some pictures. It was there was stunning view. Those were stunning views.
Yeah, it was like you just in Death Stranding there.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Lake District is a beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Are you close to it, or is it sort of still quite a journey for you?
Hour and a half away.
That's not too bad then.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's the easiest way. It's the easiest one for a good walk. It's the easiest one for a good walk. But we last time we bit off a little bit more than we could chew. To be fair, we did all of this. I think there's 8 or 9 major highest points in the Gables, and we set out to do them all in the same day.
Yeah.
Oof.
We did, which was fine, but we definitely didn't bring enough things to drink and eat, so we were massively lacking energy at the end. And we, to be honest, if we weren't lucky, like we were, because we were both to the point where we were passing out, like absolute like lack of energy, like falling asleep on the hillside and things. It was like,
Ooh.
we need to get back to the car like pretty quickly. So we had to kind of force ourselves at the end to do the last like 4 or 5 miles. But yeah, it was good fun until that point when we were like barely awake.
Yeah, we've gone too far now. This is not fun.
Yep. Yeah.
Love that. Pinky.
yeah,
You got a
that's,
question for
that's
Drew?
about
I
it
do.
now.
Let's say,
Yeah.
actually, going on the back of that one, obviously you've done the Gables as your hiking. Is there any other like goals or areas that you'd really like to explore or go hiking through? Like, would you want to do Mount Snowdon?
Snowden?
Snowdon.
What?
I tried to ask the question too quickly. We were talking about stuttering earlier, and I was like, "Yep,
Oh,
I know exactly
yeah.
what you're talking about."
So yeah, so my best friend, he loves hiking. So he's done all the big mountains in the UK. He's done them all. So no doubt he would love to drag us to them now, but he's also a recent father, so I don't think he has
Oh.
much time now. So I think if he could, yeah, he'd drag us to all of them and would do that. So I wouldn't have a problem at all doing them. To be fair, I love hiking, so I'd get up and down them and no bother. But yeah, it's for me. I love exploring. Before COVID, like many people, I used to love traveling.
Mhm.
So traveling, I've been swimming with whale sharks. I've done snorkeling, scuba diving, and parasailing. I love just doing really awesome things and going and checking out new places. And
Mhm.
I love it. Love it. Swimming with whale sharks was awesome, but also if anyone's got a fear of the deep sea, that's when you notice.
I was about to say, it definitely doesn't seem like the sort of thing that would be on my bucket list. I don't think.
Yeah, it's looking when you're out at sea and you look down and the rays of light from the sun just disappear into nothingness underneath you. That's when you're like, yeah, it's deep.
Nope. Nope. Even the
Love
idea
that.
of it's freaking me out.
Absolutely loves that. Very active, very active. Vin, have you got a question for Drew?
Yeah. So, what's the number one place you still want to visit in your life?
Good question. That was
Ooh.
exactly my question.
No,
That's
shut
easy.
it. It's my
The
question. Shut
only
it.
the only place I've got a friend that used to live there actually, and I always wanted to go there, and I still haven't been there, but I will make sure I do, and that's I want to go over to Canada.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I still haven't been to Canada. Strangely enough, I've been over to America. I've been over to the Caribbean and the Americas, but I haven't been to Canada before. So definitely want to do Canada and New Zealand, both of them. Mainly again for the scenery, ultimately
Love
for
that.
the scenery because it's just beautiful.
That would be amazing. But any particular area in Canada, or is it just anywhere you can in the country?
Oh yeah, for me, Canada specific. Again, it harkens back to the mountain biking, but and there's a very famous place in Canada known as Whistler. Whistler is during the winter, snowboarding, skiing, etc. It's all mountains,
Oh.
stair lifts, and things like that. In the summer,
That's
it's
so
all mountain
cool.
biking. So the same slopes that are for snowboarding and skiing are turned into the mountain biking slopes. So
Oh, amazing.
Oh.
it's
nice.
literally flips. So if you go in the winter, it's all snowboarding. If you go in the summer, it's all mountain biking.
Ah.
That is
So
awesome.
cool.
That is awesome.
I
That
bet that'd
is
be an
really good.
expensive trip, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. It's a good few thousand.
Few
Amazing.
thousand. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Vin, you got a question?
Yeah. So, what hobby would you like to get into but have never been able to?
Ooh. For me, and again, it's going back to techie stuff, but that's mainly because of my short attention span with ADHD, and that is learning to code. I'd love to learn to code, and I keep getting told, it is, you're very techie, you would probably be able to pick it up pretty quickly. I'm like, I probably would be, but I know for a fine fact my attention span would just zone out after like 20 lines of code. I'd be like, nope. No, I'm going to go and do this.
It's just,
Love
nope,
that.
not doing it.
Love that. That's actually ironic because our last guest last week also wanted to really push on with coding. It's quite ironic you say that. That's amazing. Pinky?
So, technically speaking, I have actually done a course on coding. It went right over my head, but I would highly recommend it, even if you do want to try and like do one of the beginners courses on something, because it's a good skill to learn, especially with some of the techie issues that go on with streaming. It's like, I think I understand what you're talking about now. But no, in terms of question, I think I want to go with back to traveling because you seem quite passionate about it. What was your favorite country you've ever visited?
So I've been like 4 times now, and it's Mexico. It's got a good mix of absolutely everything. Love the place. But then again, I've also been to Florida for different reasons. Disney World, like 4 times now as well. Specifically for Disney, that is it. I just, again, for me, the Disney side of things was because of the level of detail that Disney put into that theme park is just insane. Like top to bottom, when you go to like Avatar World and things like that, like the craftsmanship that they've got into everything down to the littlest thing is just bonkers.
Yeah.
So it's just that's why I go to there all the time, and it's ever expanding. They're always adding new things, and I love how they call the kind of builders there. They call them Imagineers. They don't call them builders. They don't call them craftsmen. So I like kind of the emphasis around that. But on purely what the country has to offer, absolutely Mexico. Love it. If I was loaded, I would definitely buy a summer home over there, and absolutely, it's got everything, like from the crispy blue waters of the Caribbean Sea, which are just phenomenal, to the wild kind of tropical storms that you get that are you're still really warm, and you can kind of enjoy them and just watch the lightning strikes going off in the distance. And
and don't forget the Latina women.
Vin says that after his wife has come in, give him a kiss to say, good night or whatever, and gone out, and then he goes and says something like that. Love that, Vin. Love that.
Oh, she kissed me. She's back home. So
okay.
Yeah, it's literally like Mexico has everything you could possibly want. The food there is great. The people are really friendly. Like the views are unbelievable. There's so much to do. If you want to go and do it, you can do it. The nightlife's great. Again, it has a bit of everything. If you're family orientated, they've got loads there for the family. If you like going clubbing and partying, trust us, you can do that very cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
Like,
it's insane the amount of stuff you get over there for very little money. But it's such a great place. But it's also, if you want to just relax, it's, again, the views help. The views, absolutely. So yeah, definitely Mexico.
What's your favorite area of Mexico in particular? Have you got one?
I always stay in Cancun, but again, it's such a big place, and you never actually, for all the things that you do, you're never actually there. So I've been out to Chichen Itza, to the Mayan temples, and been there a few times. But then I've seen a lot of what you would class as shanty towns, kind of a little bit further in. Everything I don't really have a favorite part of Mexico. I think it's overall everything is something really unique and awesome.
Absolutely love that. Vin?
Yeah, so you were talking about you went to Disney World. That's Florida, right? Disney World. That's not Disneyland, right? Yeah, Disney World 4 times. So what is it? What is your favorite Disney franchise? Franchise, is that the right word? Franchise.
Yeah. Series. Yeah.
Series. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so it used to be Star Wars, but no, it used to be. But no, I am actually much more a fan of all the Pixar stuff. I love the animated.
Yeah.
Love the animated stuff, but used to be Star Wars years ago, but not so much now. But again, if you go to Star Wars Land, or if you go to Avatar Land, like both of them are just phenomenal. Like the best ride there for me personally at the moment is Flights of Passage, which is like a 4D ride where you ride on the back of a Banshee and you kind of swifting down around the mountains on these massive kind of wraparound screens around you with the air brushing through you and things. It's just phenomenal. But for me, it's Pixar, without shadow of a doubt. I love the animated films. I love them. And they've created so many memorable ones as well.
Definitely agree with that one.
We got a question from chat from Marian Demet. You know him very, very well. He is asking, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? Or game, sorry. Favorite Star Wars game, sorry.
Star Wars game? Oh, well, that's easy. That's the Fallen Order. Without quite easy. Yeah. Fallen Order was just phenomenal, yeah. I used to love, so way back in the day when I started playing video games and things on the PC, the original Battlefronts.
Okay,
Love the original Battlefronts on PC. Love them. I remember doing the.
Don't dive too much. Don't dive too much in the gaming, Dutch, because that is coming up later on. Because I know it's going to go. So let's not go too much into it just yet. But finish off, buddy. But don't try not to go too far.
Yeah,
we'll be coming up, mate.
I'll not be mentioning Star Wars after this. I remember doing the specifically, and to this day, I think it's on every video of that game as well. And it was the at Walkers in the snow, and you're in, I've forgotten whether it's called a Y-wing or whatever it is, and you're kind of floating around, and you have to get the grapple hooks around the leg, and you've got to try and trip them up. That sticks vividly in my mind of that game, but that was my favorite Star Wars game up until Fallen Order, without doubt. Yeah,
love that. So guys, while we're on it, so obviously we mentioned films. So Vin, Pinky, let's go on with film scenario. Let's keep going on because I know Dutch loves his games, and everyone in chat loves their games. So we're gonna go on to games a bit further on. So let's go on to films for now.
Yeah, but so this is a good timing because look who just hopped in chat. It's Captain Clueless, Mr. Star Wars himself. So he says already, it's not an I-wing, it's an A-wing. So
It's already correcting you.
So what is your favorite film, Drew?
that's a toughie.
Also,
I've got
three.
a list.
Doesn't have to be Disney.
I was going to say I've got a list of top films, but I don't have a singular top one because they're all in different genres.
Do a top 5 then. Top 5?
Yeah,
top five will do.
Yeah.
absolutely. Interstellar is definitely one of them. Absolutely phenomenal film from start to finish. Music by Hans Zimmer was just insane. The visual effects by it, the story was brilliant. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Long film, but I've seen it countless times now. It's one of them comfort films now I can just put on and just enjoy.
Love that.
An oldie World War II one that I love, but it has a lot of big actors in that you'll recognize now if you go back to. It's called Memphis Belle, and it's about a World War II bomber, a B-17 bomber. But it's a famous plane. It was the first to complete a full tour of duty in World War II without being shot down. So it's a true story. It's brought to that. It's intermixed with the characters and the action and things like that. But it's also got archive film put into it of kind of the events that happened around some of the raids and things that they did. So that was awesome. I also love The Departed, which is the Americanized version of the Japanese namesake, but love that film, start to finish. The Departed is just one of those, especially the twist, and I'll not speak about the twist on here in case people haven't seen The Departed yet, but the twist at the end of that, when you watch it for the first time, you're just like, holy shit, like I did not see that coming at all. And it's like twist. It's like
Ping! That's what I'm going to
say. Yeah. As soon as that happens, ping, and then it's twist. It's like it's not just one; it's like several twists immediately at that point. You're like, "Holy shit!"
Of course,
I know what you mean. After all that, really?
Fantastic.
Phenomenal film. And then I love. After that, it gets a little bit more kind of hazy, and it's more about types of films like Scorsese films and Guy Ritchie films, all those. Like you can never go wrong with a Guy Ritchie film; they're always great.
Yeah.
The action in it is always good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's those are my kind of top three. And then I've got kind of countless war films and things that I love as well, like Soul Survivor and Fury was a brilliant one as well recently. But yeah, and then I've got horror films, and one of my favorite horror films, and I've forgotten the name of it now. It's a space one.
Alien.
Forgotten it. It's an
Event
old one.
Horizon?
Yes, you got it. Event Horizon.
Good shout.
Classic.
I have to admit, the only reason I think of it is one of the few space horror films that I could think of that everyone knows, but no one ever remembers what it is. And it traumatized me. It traumatized me.
Yeah, love that film. Event Horizon is absolutely brilliant. And it's another one of them comfort kind of horror films you can go back to. That and The Thing. I love the original The Thing. It's brilliant as well. Absolutely phenomenal. But yeah.
What did you think of the remake of The Thing? Do you think it did it justice?
I think it was all right, but I think it was all right, but it was definitely not. It wasn't anywhere near as good as the original. I think the original had a little bit more. It was still a little bit more tense. And I think the remake was good, but I think a little bit more, should we say, fleshed out for cinema, whereas the originals were kind of a little bit more meant to be a little bit more gritty, a little bit more suspenseful.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Vin, why Pinky's obviously with her frozen
Fix that
camera. When
Yeah.
she had the worst pose on possible.
So
So
yes,
she's had to drop out.
I'm gonna ask the question from chat. It's the General C. He's asking if you had to delete one Disney IP, what would you pick?
If I had to delete one,
Yeah, you delete one, so one gets erased forever.
dear me. Frozen. Goodbye.
No, you can't do that to my daughter. You can do that to my daughter.
Oh yeah, Frozen would be disappeared immediately. Yeah.
Good
I
man.
can see that. Literally, anytime I hear Let It Go now, I'm just like, nope. I worked in retail over the Christmas that came out. I never want to hear it again in my life.
Yeah.
Pinky, while you were distracted, did you actually have a question film related for Dutch?
I did, but it's completely gone.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll step in. Then. So,
Thank
Drew, genuine question for you, mate, is everyone has this, and I do like asking this question because it does cause controversy. If there's a film that you've watched that everybody loves, for example, we'll use Frozen as an example. Everyone loved it. You and I are the same. We like them. But one film that everyone loved that you thought, wow, this is so overhyped. This is not
Sonic the Hedgehog.
so overhyped.
Yeah.
Is there a film that you just think, I don't get it. I really don't get the hype. I just don't.
Yeah.
Nah, not for me.
There's been numerous films like that, to be honest. There's been numerous films. Like I think I loved Lord of the Rings the first time I watched it. But it definitely isn't a rewatch thing for me. Like again, it's overhyped. I like Harry Potter's the later ones where it's a little bit more adult orientated and it's a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the younger stuff, it's just cringe. Like, oh god, this is horrendous. But no, I think aside from that, there isn't any. I give a lot of things a chance, but I don't think God is overhyped. I think there's not many I haven't given a chance. I think I'm very much one for nostalgia as well for me.
Yeah.
So if someone goes, oh well, the new Blade Runner like 2074 is better than the original Blade Runner, I'll be like, absolutely not. Don't lie. Don't kill my baby.
Fair enough. Love that. Blade Runner's brilliant. Harrison Ford. So got a question from Studos. Welcome, Stu, mate. So your favorite Pixar movie?
Oh, it's a toughie. That's a toughie because there's so many good ones.
I can hear the brain ticking away there.
The gears grinding.
There was one very recently that I watched actually that it was absolutely awesome, and Chris Pratt was actually in it. Believe it or not, I think it was called Onward or Outward or something.
Outward.
It was
Onward.
Two, like blue. Yeah, them two like blue.
Yeah. Oh, you've got me thinking now. As a Disney nerd, I'm ashamed of myself.
He's like a wizard, and he's got to go and like search for. He's essentially trying to get his dad back together.
It's Onward, by the way. Onward.
That's the one.
I had to look it up.
I think of recent memory, Onward, without shadow of a doubt, has been phenomenal. But it's hard to know because again, the Mexican one as well that came just before that was absolutely phenomenal. What was that? Coco. Yes.
Okay.
Love that again. Same thing. Really great story. Really well put together. Music was great. Characters were interesting. Both of those were very powerful films in different ways. Very much about reconnecting with family or connecting with family or trying to get there was a purpose and there was a meaning behind it. For really great films.
It had a really good moral behind that one. I think the Pixar ones do try and have that moral to them, but I think Onward had one that's more relevant to a lot of us because with the pandemic and everything, reconnecting and that importance on bonds and connections was like paramount then.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of one of the key things, and that was it was for me. It was because my father passed away like over a decade ago. So for me, watching that was a little bit more difficult because it was about trying to connect back with his father again. So that was I was like, bloody hell, get the tissues out.
Oh no!
So it was about like, because it was all this, it was based on his father and trying to get back with his father and trying to bring his father back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a great film.
Love that. I love that. Thanks for that one. Vin, have you got a question, or can I ask one for chat while I'm waiting?
Yeah, ask one for chat.
Are you sure? Because you disappeared for a while. So
I was-
got to ask this one because I love this one from General C.
I needed more.
What's your favourite zombie movie, and why is it Shaun of the Dead?
He's got a point. Shaun of the Dead is definitely S tier zombie films, to be fair. And I think for me, zombie films, aside from that, there's a few really awesome ones that I love, and whether or not you class them as zombies or otherwise, I still love World War Z. I thought that film was absolutely tremendous, so good, especially when it's like when you hear that kind of child's voice counting down on the when the zombies turn them for the first time, and you're like,
yeah,
here we go. But it's a different type. Like that's like zombies moving really fast and like really aggressively. But then the story unfolds, and they don't go after the sick, don't go after the good, and you're like, oh, okay, that's different. And then I Am Legend for the first time as well. Just seeing, of course, the entire thing played out as essentially one actor. For the 90% of the film, and then have a tiny little section at the beginning and middle. It kind of has other characters in.
I can't. The dog every time that scene with the dog. I can't.
We love Sam.
But again,
we
great.
love Sam.
But,
I do.
yeah, comedy one. It's between it's between Evil Dead and Shaun of the Dead, and then of course World War Z and World War Z and I Am Legend for should we say modern day. You know what? Actually, here's one that as my don't get the hype. 28 Days Later is terrible. Okay. Why do people love that film?
Ooh, okay. That's quite a controversial opinion.
That's fair. That's allowed. That is allowed.
I have to admit, I'm impressed by that. What is it about it that you thought wasn't very good? Because it's quite. Everyone says it's a good film.
Yeah. I just didn't like it. I thought it was. And again, it could be that it just doesn't stand the test of time, but I think it just wasn't a great film. I just didn't like it.
That's what you're here for. Give your opinions on that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a really quick question. Can I have probably, let's go top three, shall we? Top three actors and then top three actresses, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
God. I definitely name the actors, maybe not the actresses. Leo DiCaprio definitely up there. I think he's extremely versatile.
We got him thinking now.
Jason Statham.
No, I'm definitely not Jason Statham. Love Tom Hanks. To be fair, he's got an abundance of films that I love, going back childhood all the way till now. He's also been a really great actor. And I would have to probably say, and it's a more recent one. It was I've forgotten his actual name, but you might be able to enlighten me. It's the German guy that was in both Django Unchained and
Christoph Waltz.
Christopher Waltz, yes.
That's it, yeah.
Phenomenal actor. Yeah, phenomenal actor. But he's like both in Glorious Bastards and in Django, and I've seen him in numerous films since then as well. He is such a talented bloke, but he's also so likable. Even as a villain,
you like
he's
him.
Such a likable bloke. You're just like, he's cool.
Love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
I can't hate you. You're just too nice of a person.
Yeah, that's the problem with Christopher Waltz. He's like, oh yeah, he's a really nice guy. Even if he's evil, you're like, actually, I can understand that. Like, that's bingo. How can you? He's a Nazi officer like SS, but then as soon as he says that's the bingo, you're like, Oh,
Yeah.
Can't hate him.
It's okay, mate. You can shoot me. It's fine.
Actresses. God, that's difficult.
Vincent again. I can list them all, but he doesn't do it on their ability. He does it on their looks.
No, you see, that's the thing. There's not many for me over the course of time that have really stood out that I like and it's not because of their ability. It's because there's not many, and hopefully it changes in time. But there's not many prominent female roles in the films that I watch, which is probably one of the key issues as to why I can't identify female actresses that I love.
Yeah.
So even if you look at the likes of Django Unchained or any of the Pixar movies that we've seen, very much male leads across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Even including Star Wars. Yes, you had the lady recently who played Rey. But up until then, and it has been, again, most blokes don't care about that, but they have been typecast because of their looks, not as their acting abilities. No, I think it's mainly key. The only reason I can't point them out is because a lot of the films that we watch, typecast wise, it's mainly blokes in lead roles. So
that's fair comment. Fair comment. I respect that. Vin, I'm sorry. Go on, Pinky. Go on.
What about because I think it's Sandra Bullock in Interstellar, if I'm right. What's your opinion on her? Is she a good actress in your opinion, or overrated?
Yeah. Absolutely a good actress. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's for me. It's if you think back, I think another one as well that I've forgotten her name now actually, but the original lead actress from the Alien franchise. Of course, you could. What was her name?
Sigourney
Weaver.
Yes, absolutely. Badass. Yes, most definitely. Great back then. And again, saying that, you go back to like 80s, 90s actresses. Personally, I think were above and beyond the capabilities of the actresses these days. I think the actresses back then are so much more talented than some of the female actresses these days.
Nothing wrong with that as opinion.
Yeah, it's the same with the male. It's the same with the male actors, I think. So
yeah, I completely agree. Now you've got like, and no offense to Dwayne Johnson, but The Rock as a lead actor, and like,
yeah, but he's like in 99% of all the movies.
and this is why we've got like the likes of like Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio, like still going like 40 years into their careers, like still chugging away. Because like some of these male roles are going to like just like WWE stars that are going into like acting for the first time, and like I think it's getting cheesier as time goes on.
I think sometimes they get chosen because of their name rather than their acting abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah, just look at the original Ghostbusters, right? With Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. Nobody
will
ever be able to beat those guys. Nobody.
Have you watched the recent Ghostbusters?
Amazing.
No, not yet.
Watch it.
Amazing.
Watch it.
I
got all of the originals back.
Oh, I only
good.
watched that one with the woman thing that was so bad.
Oh
so
no, Afterlife.
I put it off like
Afterlife.
Oh,
Watch
okay.
Afterlife. It's got all the
I
originals.
still haven't
back
seen
in.
it.
Is it on?
me too.
Where's it on? Is it on one of the?
Well, it'll be on one of the streaming ones now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out then.
It's
it's
on DVD. Vin, buy it.
Already? It's already on DVD. Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was released at least
yeah.
a year ago. It doesn't take that long to go onto DVD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Really good fun. Actually, really good fun.
I'm mostly on Amazon Prime these days, so I
So, guys, time is ticking. I just need to say in
Yeah.
the chat really quickly, guys. Do appreciate all the interactions, guys. Really do. Can't ask all the questions, unfortunately, because we've flown the conversation and we don't want to interrupt Dutch because this is his podcast as much as ours. So, apologies if we have missed your question. All right, guys, but we do appreciate it. Please keep asking them away. And if we can get it, the time is right, we will ask the questions. All right, guys. So, just want to apologize for that.
or otherwise we continue Wednesday.
But we do honestly appreciate all the comments and everyone. We are taking on board what you guys are saying, and we are loving the interactions, guys. I just apologies if we can't ask you questions because obviously we are limited to time, and we got quite a bit to cover. So guys, I'm gonna have to move us on from films. All right. And
Ooh.
Marion was very nice to ask earlier about music, which can be a bit of a high or low subject, depends on how passionate you are. So let's find out how passionate Drew is about his music. Pinky, you're normally the artist to start us with music, so take us away.
Do you want me to ask the question?
Yeah, we go.
Yes! Okay, did you want me to ask Marion's question?
Ask what you want.
I need to go back and find it now. Actually, no, you know what? Sort it. Okay, so first of all, music is a huge passion of mine, and in particular, live music. Have you seen any bands live? And if so, what was your favorite band to see?
Yeah, I've seen loads. I am multi-genred, so I love DJs, being Dutch mainly. We love trance music, we love hard style and things like that. So we love that kind of music, big party music. Yeah. But I'm also a huge fan of metal, heavy metal, rock music, 80s rock. And kind of in between, sometimes some indie artists and things like that. But in terms of live rock bands, I haven't seen too many, to be honest. But one of the best and most fun kind of interactive moments I've had, and especially those in the UK will know this band called The Streets.
Oh my god, yeah.
They did an event. There used to be an event in Newcastle called Threevolution, and it was a free festival that they put on every year in August, I think it was. Didn't have to pay anything to get in, and then eventually it went to £3. But they had The Streets on as one of the headline acts, and it was so fun. They were like telling the crowd to jump up and down and sit down, and all the music was just phenomenal, and they interacted so well. It was such a great time, to be honest. The Streets were so fun. But I have seen Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were absolutely awesome live. The ones I still want to see, but it's getting more and more difficult as time goes on, is Foo Fighters. Absolutely would love to see Foo Fighters live. But again, of course, one of the kind of leads have passed away this year. So unfortunately, I think their touring's slowed down significantly now, if not, especially worldwide touring's different now. So might not get a chance to see them. But yeah, I think they're the biggest kind of rocky events that I've been to. In terms of other live acts, I've been, again, every year, including this year coming up, going to a State of Trance in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And that is a 2-day event this year, but I've met most of the DJs there. Armin van Buuren being kind of the key one. I've met him before, being to Armada head office in the Netherlands, being to private pre-parties there. But also, I think his live event that we went to a few years back now, I think 2018, I think it was, maybe it's 2020. Was kind of his culmination of all of his 20 years as a DJ, but it was all live. So his brother's a guitarist, so his brother did kind of live guitar solos and things on stage. He had like full orchestra on stage doing all the music, and
that sounds amazing.
Live dancers, live pianos, all the vocal artists were singing live on the stage and things for all the different tracks. So everything was produced live there and then. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was at the Amsterdam Arena, and it was sold out for 2 days in a row. So there was like 60,000 people there. So it was absolutely heaving. But that was by far the best live event I've been to. It wasn't what we expected, especially when you had like the full blown orchestra and everything on stage. It just took it to another level.
Love that. Absolutely love that. That is just phenomenal. Covered so many areas on that as well. That is wow. Vin, do you want to follow on with that? Do you want to follow on from that, Vin?
I wanted to ask Marion his question, but I think that's mostly covered. But I will ask anyway. What is your top 3 bands?
Oh, I'd say this changes on all the time. I'm again going back old school to now. So one of my old school ones is Sting and the Police.
Oh, yeah.
Love Sting and the Police. Love them. Like I've got just a playlist full of Sting and the Police, like all of their tracks going back to the beginning. Love them. That's one of the things my father got us into. Most definitely, he'd love the Police, and that was one of his kind of favorite bands. And I've just loved them all the way from that. One of the favorite 80s rockers is Billy Idol. Love Billy Idol.
Oh, I love
yeah,
Billy
yeah,
Idol. Sorry, you're just endearing yourself to me all the more here.
I think you got a new big fan, Dutch.
Let's say everything you said, I've gone yes. Where's the no?
Yeah, but you're gonna have to compete with Kempy because Kempy already proposed.
Oh yeah,
He has already proposed. He
but he hasn't accepted yet.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
More recently, there's a new Geordie lad around here, and a lot of people might have heard of him already, but he's called Sam Fender. He's got a lot of good tracks recently.
I don't know him.
He's one of the headliners for not Glastonbury.
He was at Glastonbury this year. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, no, he's just been announced.
Leeds and Reading.
That's it, Leeds and Reading.
Yeah. Yeah, he was at Pyramid Stage as well this year, but going to see him in June at St James's Park, which is obviously a big one for him because that's his home stadium. But his work's phenomenal as well. Like he writes all the songs himself. Everything he's done is like very, very, very high level and lyrically. So I really love him. But yeah, it's so eclectic. Like I say, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters, all them. Just phenomenal. Heavy metal bands, God, I could name loads, but I'm very going Killswitch Engage, Atreyu, Bullet for My Valentine. We're talking like going back a few years, yeah, but yeah, they're my
Nothing
core.
wrong with that. They're still good even now.
And how about that band? I forgot the name, but from Hellblade, you know, the more Viking style music. What's the name called? You know,
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I should know because one of my bosses is the lead singer.
Oh,
so
really?
I should know this.
Really?
Yeah, for
Wow.
Grimfrost.
Just slide that in there without even like
Yeah.
Name drop.
Heilung. Yeah. General C said in the chat. Heilung. That's the name. Yeah.
Yes. No, there's another one actually. I should know because he is the owner and lead singer. But yeah, I do follow. Yeah, that's a bit death metal-y, to be honest. A lot of people don't like that, but I understand why.
I loved it. I loved it in Hellblade. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
Brilliant. Pinky, do you want to ask another music question?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask
You
this
found
because,
Drew's.
So we found common ground. I'm really happy, but I'm going to go with Cappy's question because this will determine whether or not he goes through with the proposal. Are you a fan of Enter Shikari? And if so, what is your favorite song by them?
I do like them, but I don't like them enough to tell you their song names. So I've heard their music. I like them. I've heard them in multiple, not only just in games, but in TV shows. And I'm pretty sure Enter Shikari were on a recent anime on Netflix. I've forgotten the name of it. It wasn't Edge Runners. It was the other one that came just before it. But yeah, I like them, but I couldn't tell you the song names.
I'm trying to think of it, but my brain's just not giving it to me. Sorry.
Yeah, same. Brain fart moment now.
I think it's like an hour in, so we can't blame you.
Yeah, well, an hour and a half. But that's the point, guys. Time is literally flying back, and so we're going to do a quick stint on TV shows because you've mentioned Netflix, so we're going to go to TV shows for a bit. Only a short little period piece on this one, and then we're going to go on to games, and then we're going to finish off with some quick fire questions for you, Drew. Okay.
Yes.
Vin, do you want to ask a question about TV shows?
Yes. So, what is your favorite TV show at the moment, or of all time?
Of all time, it was again another war one, but it was a collection, and it was Band of Brothers. Thoroughly love that thing. Like I had it on literal cassette collection when it came out on TV cassettes. So the big old box set, and then got the DVD collection, and then got the Aside from that, Stranger Things, Vikings, are the other two main ones. Stranger Things and Vikings are my other two, but they're my top three. Is Band of Brothers, Stranger Things, and Vikings. And this last season of Stranger Things that has just been on has just cemented it as one of my favorite all times. It's just been such a great series.
But Vikings original, right? Not Valhalla, I think.
Not Valhalla. No, not Valhalla.
No, exactly. I
Not
agree
Valhalla,
with you
the
there,
original.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the original.
was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a question that I want to ask you, mate, about the Stranger Things really quickly.
Yes.
For me personally, I'm really struggling to get into it. Like, struggle. I watched the first 4 episodes of season 1, and every time you get to the season 4, episode 4, I can't carry on.
Yeah.
How would you say? Because obviously it's one of your favorites. How are you going to sell it to me to get me to persevere and watch it?
The character arcs, and the action that they improve. It's much like is the easiest way to put it. It's much like trying to watch the Harry Potter collection from start when you know the beginning is very cringy, but then the end is such a big payoff.
Okay, so persevere because the ending's worth it, right?
Yeah, persevere because the ending's worth it. And at the end of each one, the end of each series actually is like they always have this huge climax, but the end of 4 has multiple huge payoffs at the end of season 4. You'll tend to I think up until that point you'll probably really enjoy the ending of season 2 and 3, but 4 just really pushes it. 1's kind of forgettable when you've watched them all. 1's more of a just get to know the characters, and then 2, 3, 4 is really where it pushes on.
Okay, I'll persevere, mate. Thank you very much for that. Vin? No, sorry, Pinky. Pinky's your turn. Sorry,
I was about to say, it's my turn.
No, I want to go again.
Pinky, let's go.
So I'm going to ask a question on the back of that because my question was kind of similar. What popular TV series that everyone seemed to like could you not get into, and why?
Oh, I think this goes with the General C's question.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that is very similar. I don't look at it all the time.
It's the one everybody loved that wasn't Vikings. I've forgotten the name of it because I hated it. Game of Thrones. God, that was boring.
No.
You found it boring, okay.
I found it was just so slow on the uptake. Like,
you have to
not much happens for a very long time. And it's one of them TV series where people just go, yeah, but if you just keep going, it'll eventually gets good. Like, but yeah, how far is eventually? Because we're talking like 8-9 hours in, and it's still not really.
Your cup of tea.
That always
it was one of them. Whereas with Vikings, and this is the difference between the two shows for me. Whereas with Vikings, is it starts off with action, then has like this like family moment where you get to know them a little bit, then it's straight back into act. It's got a good like flow about it, where a lot happened.
Yeah.
Where I thought it was mainly a lot of talking and a lot of politics with Game of Thrones, and it's just too slow for me.
That's fair. I respect that. Vin?
Yeah, so which platforms do you tend to watch? Is it Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus? Which is the best?
I'm one of them. Everything. I have everything. I've got Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. I've got Discovery Plus. Because I love documentaries and horror documentaries and things like that. So I love Discovery Plus for that.
Oh, we do that here. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Shudder on Amazon as well, which is like loads of B movie horror films and things like that.
I was going to say, see adverts for that.
Yeah, Shudder's good. Shudder's really cool, and it's like lots of these things where you might have forgotten about things.
Why you have more options than us? In Holland, we don't have that stuff. Why?
The good thing about Amazon now is if you go on Amazon Prime now, Amazon have got another subsection where it's loads of like subscriptions.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah,
built into it. So they've got like Discovery Plus and Shudder and everything underneath that, so you can subscribe to those within Amazon.
And let's be fair, Vin, the UK is basically just a budget America anyway, so we get everything that they get.
Yeah.
And also you're from the Netherlands.
But,
yeah.
But
I was going to say apart from the fact that the US have Bullet Train right now on Netflix, the new Bullet Train film on Netflix, and we don't get it until 2024.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? 2024? Well, I've seen it.
Is it
so I
that
like it.
late?
Yeah. So it's got some weird Sony marketing where they don't release their films into UK and Canada for 2 years after it's released.
What?
Why?
So no, I know why. Because Dutch pissed off Jim Ryan. That's it.
Probably.
It's your fault.
Love that. Pinky, I think it's your turn.
It is me. It is me again. So I was going to slightly move on slightly for this. Do you watch anime? And if so, what is your favorite series of all time?
Original favorite series of all time, Dragon Ball Z, without shadow of a doubt. I grew up watching that after school. I'd come and rush in after school to watch the latest episode. I was so hyped, and like watching the Cell Saga for the first time and things like that, and it was just phenomenal. Most recently, I haven't watched anime too much until very recently. Cyberpunk released the Edge Runner show on Netflix, which was
Fantastic.
phenomenal. It was just a limited
good.
series, so it's a one-off. But loved it, start to finish. It was so good, so good. The music was great, the actors were cool, story was good.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
That is-
Dragon Ball was what I just absolute. Yeah, as Jen said in chat there, S tier. It was just. I think everybody grew up on Dragon Ball Z. I think everybody remembers it from like
Fantastic.
originally airing.
Okay, so guys, because of time restraints,
Hey,
Vin, are you ready? Vin, we're going to talk about games.
Oh, hey, finally.
Drew's pride and passion. So,
Yes.
Vin, ask your first question, buddy.
So, what is your favorite game of all time?
Yes. Favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VI.
Oh,
Oh, 6. Interesting choice.
6. 7 is a close follow up, followed by 9.
okay.
Ah, yes, 9. Sorry. Happy.
Yeah. It's all the way in third. Don't get too excited. Pinky?
Sorry, you threw me there. I was too busy thinking about Final Fantasy there. So, in terms of gaming, what is your favorite genre to play? And what's your least favorite?
Yeah, favorite genre used to be JRPGs, but I think they've got a little bit worse over time.
Yeah.
But I would still say RPGs as a whole, as long as the story's good, is definitely my favorite. So role playing games doesn't have to be JRPG or Western RPG, just a good role playing game, good story, start to finish. Absolutely love it. Especially one that engrosses you. Least favorite. God, that's a good one. Not turn-based RPGs. Turn-based tactical games. I like
XCOM.
Like XCOM, that's
yeah, XCOM. Yeah, don't like them. Just do not like them.
Mario and the Rabbids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. When they keep showing that off, I'm like, God, that just looks like it takes so much time for so little payoff.
I still remember our chat
That's
going
fair.
absolutely mental when the Rabbids managed to beat Warhammer Total War 3, I think it was, as the best tactical game of the year. The chat was just so angry about it.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Captain
How?
was about to riot.
Oh, I love that. Vin?
So, what upcoming game are you most excited for?
Oh, that is a toughie because there's so many.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God, that's a toughie. See, a lot of people, especially a lot of Xbox guys, would be saying Starfield, but Starfield, as much as I'm looking forward to it, it also dreads me because as soon as when you know something is that huge, you think, oh God, and you've got this like minor dread. You're like, I want to start that game, but I know that game is so big that I
It's
won't have time for
overwhelming,
anything
isn't
else.
it? Yeah.
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 So actually one that surprised me with just how good it looked is Hogwarts Legacy. I am
really?
super hyped to
Yep.
play that game. Like, that game looks phenomenal. Like when they first announced it, I was like, okay, another Harry Potter game. I've played a lot of them in the past and they've been okay, but they haven't been amazing. And then I seen the full gameplay breakdown and just how much they'd added into it and how big the world was. And I was like, they have put a lot into this, and I am so blown away by how much they've actually done.
That's it. That's
so
the one that
nice.
I've got that dread.
Dutch, would you
It
like
is-
the idea that they've actually it's not really Harry Potter, is it? It's all about Hogwarts, and
Yeah.
I think the aspect that they've put you as a person that you can develop
Yeah.
yourself in there. So it's not
Exactly.
about Harry Potter. It's about you
Yeah.
enjoying the Hogwarts experience. Do you reckon that's
Yes,
what sold
exactly.
you on it?
Oh, most definitely, and I think the fact that there's a co-op experience to it as well, where you can explore the entire place with your friends, and you've all got these different wizards or witches that you can kind of design and float around on, or you can go to lessons, and you've got your own rooms and explore to your heart's content, essentially. And I think it's just everything. I think it's just the idea of adventure and exploration. That's the one thing I love about video games in the first place, especially when you can adventure a bit and they've got these awesome little side stories and little things that you can do that kind of catch you off guard. Sometimes a lot of the best things, and I think we've seen that with a lot of some of the bigger games recently, like the likes of The Witcher or even God of War, which I've just finished, is sometimes the side quests, the ones that you would otherwise ignore, can be some of the most memorable kind of adventures you go on in the game. Some of like awesome experiences. So I'm looking forward to that in Hogwarts. To be fair, I think some of the side quests and some of the little things you might get up to and on the side will probably end up being better than some of the mainline story stuff. So I'm super looking forward to seeing what that's about.
So I have a question from the General C. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's one game you think deserves a reboot or a remake, what would you pick and why? Why Skies of Arcadia?
Oh, for goodness sake. I knew it was coming.
Mine's, I know yours is Skies of Arcadia, Vin, I know. Outside, I still think, and I don't know why, because this is the same issue Resident Evil fans have every year when they're asking for the next one to be remade and then they just ignore it. Everyone keeps saying like Code Veronica, please, Code Veronica, please, Code Veronica, and they keep making the other ones and everything but Code Veronica. I'm exactly the same with Final Fantasy, so naturally I do want 9 to be remade or 6, but they keep doing everything else apart from those. And I'm like, you're missing a huge opportunity here, because 6 is like really old and could do with a lovely kind of reimagining in that. It has one of the best villains in the series, for instance, if not the best villain in the series, which is absolutely awesome. And 9, Vivi's character was one of the best kind of character arcs as well in the series. And it was. I remember vividly seeing him kind of find out that he wasn't real for the first time, and he's like everything was a lie, and I was like, God, that's such a really good story arc, and I'd love to see that remade. But ultimately, on the flip side, one of my other ones is a horror game, Condemned, which I think absolutely deserves a reboot. One of the best, most suspenseful horror games ever. And Jesus Christ, it creeps you out to this day. I picked it up the other day on the 360 version on sale for like £2. I don't regret it.
Oh, wow. Nice. I'm going to ask a controversial one here, though, guys. I'm going to step in.
Yes.
So same as with the idea of the films here, Dutch. What game has been really hyped, really sold? Maybe Game of the Year, not Vin's Game of the Year, but obviously Game of the Year, right? And you've played it and you've gone, this is absolute rubbish. This is literally, I am so disappointed in it.
Yeah. God, there's a few, to be honest.
Want me to leave for a second?
No, he wants you to hear it. He wants you to hear his response.
For Sony, most recently, it's the Horizon series. Like, I've got them both, and I don't think they're as great as people make out. But that's the good thing about opinions, is thankfully we don't have to share the same opinion. I just think the story isn't in the world isn't as interesting or as entertaining as a lot of people think. I would have said Death Stranding, but Death Stranding's very much a Marmite game anyway. You either love or hate that game, and I can understand why on both sides, because it's a beautifully crafted world, but it's also very boring at times. And for me to play that game, I've got to take it in small chunks. I've got to be like, okay, I'll do like an hour or two, and then I'll jump off and play something else. Because if I played too much of it, just walking around with
ruin it for you
back all day long, I'd be bored stiff.
Yep.
On Xbox's side, God, say because I love their mainline franchises, so it's been a bit difficult to say what I disliked. Oh yeah. Oh, I tell you what, I'm gonna go with another Sony one because I am not a superhero fan at all. Spider-Man,
Huh?
don't like it.
Ooh.
Which
Okay.
one, Miles Morales or the original Spider-Man?
Both.
Really?
I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not a huge like Marvel superhero fan. So, like, even I've got the games, both of them,
Mhm.
just because I was like, I'm gonna give these a shot the best I can. And I'm like, nope, still absolutely not for me. I've tried my best, but these are just not for me. Nope. It's Insomniac are wizards at what they do in the worlds that they create, but I enjoyed Sunset Overdrive much more than I did Spider-Man.
Fair enough. That's what we love. That's what the opinions are for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's Pinky's turn for a question.
It is. I have two, and I'm going to go with the one that I think will be probably the better of the two. So, on the flip side of that conversation, what games did you expect nothing from? Like you picked up for maybe a bit of a laugh, or because someone said it was absolutely awful, and you played it and went, "Actually, I really enjoyed that."
Vampire Survivors.
Oh, oh.
Such a
Play-
yeah, I know.
play these,
I know. I know. Fleety's like we spoke about this before. It's one of them games where you literally do nothing. Absolutely
It's
nothing.
It's,
You don't do
it's
a
left
thing.
stick simulator.
Nothing.
Left stick simulator. Yeah, exactly.
But then you have to beat your high score, and then you have to beat that high score, and then death kills you, and you want to kill death. So you got to figure out how to kill death.
Yeah.
Even though
yeah.
you don't do anything, you just got to try and make sure you get the right weapons in the right order when you're leveling up.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all you do. But
It-
it's so addictive.
Yes,
Why?
it's like a drug. It's like a drug.
Why? Yeah.
Stupid game.
But
Stupid
yeah,
game.
that one I didn't expect anything from it. I was like, "What on earth is this? What is this?" And then I started playing it, and I was like, "There goes 4 hours.
Yeah.
Why?"
Yeah, and it's perfect for your reward system, right? Because there's so many achievements. So
Oh God, yeah.
yeah, so every
Yeah.
day when you play, you get the 50-point rewards, from. So
Yeah.
it's
For God's
easy
sake,
money.
Vince. Achievement, of course. Vin, you're going to have to ask the last game question, mate, and then we have to get to quickfire because we are running out of time and we know how long the quickfire takes.
No, I'm gonna strike. I want to continue.
Okay, you can ask a question. It's up to you, mate, because the timing's time
Oh.
and you're
So
wasting
what is your go-to chill game?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What's the game you relax on if you have a hard day and you come home and you're like, fuck everything, I'm gonna chill out on this game.
Easy. So my go-to chill game. I haven't had much time to do this recently, but my go-to chill game when I've had the opportunity to is Flight Sim.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
one again, another one that it goes back to with my father. He was again worked in the airline industry. Loved flight sims when I was growing up, combat flight sims and regular flight sims with my dad. So it was something that we always kind of went through, and then made skins for the planes and things like that, downloaded them. But then it's especially this new one, it's such a relaxing game to be able to just go on, just fly, and you can just pick any destination in the world because it's the entire world. And you can just fly over a destination that you want to go on holiday and see what it looks like, and then fly through crazy weather or see some beautiful locations and relax. And it's got really relaxing music in the background. Yeah, it's just phenomenal for relaxation, and it's such an easy game to pick up on as well. Once you're up in the air and you can just fly, floating around the place and just chilling, and you've got your music on and things. It's just such a chill game. Love it.
If you go to Wandering Dutch's channel, there's awesome 4K videos of Flight Sim where Drew is just flying around the whole world. Beautiful videos. Go check them out.
Yes.
Wow.
Love that. Love that. So, Drew, we are going on to the quick fire questions, mate. So
Absolutely.
Vin and Pinky are just going to fire them at you, mate. They should be really easy, so don't overthink them, mate. It literally should be yes or no, or one answer or the other, mate. It should be freaking easy, mate. Once we've gone through some of them, I may have to hold it because obviously, again, time. Just want to spend the last 5 minutes of the stream, and it's going to be the Wandering Dutch's corner, where you can give shout outs and obviously promote your channel and about future projects, etc. Okay. So Pinky, Vin, are you ready?
Yeah,
Always,
but-
my dear.
Okay, Vin,
Yeah,
are you
but-
ready? You don't sound
maybe-
ready?
Yeah, but maybe Dutch wants to answer this question because Campy asks again. Will Dutch marry me?
Okay. Dutch, put him out of his misery and then we can go.
I'm
Okay.
unfortunately I'm straight,
Pinky, you
Camp
ready?
Survivor.
Aw.
Okay, so here we go, Drew. Are you ready?
Yes,
Right, let's go,
pineapple on
Pinky. Let's
pizza.
go. Come on, time to get
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
absolutely not. No.
Flat out, I love it. Okay, takeaway or home cook?
Oh, home cook all the time.
Tea?
Yeah,
Tea or coffee?
coffee,
Oh, chocolate or candy?
chocolate,
Beer or cider?
cider,
Pitch black or silence?
silence,
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke, out of a glass bottle.
Oh yeah, it's always the glass. The glass is better.
Yep.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Xbox.
yes.
Midweek or World of Gaming?
Oh, that's not very nice. That's horrible. Midweek family, of course, first.
You can
and
say both,
foremost.
mate. You can say both.
Yeah. Ghosts or
Go for it.
zombies?
Oh, ghosts, absolutely.
S or tits?
Oh, ass.
We'll go with the chat one. We're gonna go with Sonic or Mario.
Sonic for me.
Yes! You hear that, Jen? You hear that, Jen?
Vin, come on. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Hot dog or burger?
Burger, absolutely.
Morning bird or night owl?
No, night owl, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not a morning person at all.
I feel that in my
Marvel?
soul.
Oh, sorry. Marvel or
Yeah,
DC?
go on.
Marvel or DC? Oof. God, that's horrible. Probably, I would say probably DC on the scale of things. I think more for villains than for superheroes.
Okay.
That basically answers my next question. I was literally going to say heroes or villains. Okay, let's go
Yeah,
horror
absolutely.
or comedy.
What was that? Horror or comedy?
Yes.
Horror, absolutely, all day long. Yeah, horror. Massive horror
Okay.
fan.
Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo. Sorry, Vin.
Oh, I know, because of the Pokemon, right? Because Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject here.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject here really quickly. So Campy's asked for Jason or Michael Myers.
Ooh, well, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to say Jason Voorhees to be fair. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go one for chat again.
Uh-huh.
McDonald's or
Pinky?
Burger King?
Or Burger King, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, better burgers.
Good man.
Better chips too, to be fair.
Yeah.
And Android or
Vin?
iOS?
Or Android. Yeah,
Yes.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Breakfast or no breakfast?
Oh, breakfast or no? God, that's it. That is a debating on the day. Sometimes love a good breakfast. Other days couldn't think of anything worse that would make us sick. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah,
That's
Mhm.
good.
What? Pokemon or Digimon?
Pokemon. Yeah, come on.
There's never a doubt on that one. Okay, sleeping in the cold or the warm?
Cold. You get a better sleep.
Halo or Gears of War?
Gears of War.
Immortality or super strength?
Super strength. I don't want to live forever. Watch everyone else die.
You'd be amazed about people don't think of that.
Who you rather want on the show? Herman Hulst or Aaron Greenberg?
Oh, Big Aaron. He's a much more likable guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's a much more down to earth guy. He's,
Vin's trying to get you in trouble here, I
I
feel.
think Herman's a bit more strategic. He's probably a cool guy to have on, but he'd be very serious. I think Aaron you can have a laugh with.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, I'm going to nick the one from chat. God of War or Hellblade?
Oh, Jen. Come on.
I knew that was going to be a good one at you.
Right.
Jen is on fire today.
This is easy so far because no one's played Senua's Saga. So right now, God of War, because I've played both of them to completion, to platinum. So God of War as it stands, but that can change depending on how good the next one is.
Well done, mate. Well done. Well said. Vin, we're running out of time, guys.
Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Ooh. You have to stick with the original Call of Duty. I think it's on the scale of things, yeah.
The 360 lobbies.
Yeah.
Pinky?
Okay, I'll go with summer or winter.
Summer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Vin?
Stealth or fast action games?
Fast action.
Audiobook or podcast?
Podcast.
Great question,
He makes them.
really.
Yeah, he makes them. So, chicken or beef? Jen, again.
Beef. Yeah, absolutely beef.
TV or movie?
It depends. It's getting a lot harder recently. In the past, I would have said movie. Now I'd probably say TV.
Fair?
Spyro or Crash Bandicoot?
Spyro.
Telepathy or telekinesis?
Telekinesis. The ability to move objects is much better.
Yep. I don't want to hear anyone else's thoughts.
Smartest person or richest person?
I think smartest because you could become rich. Being smart.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, fair play. Pinky?
Rock music or trance music?
Oh.
That depends on the mood. That depends on the mood. Sometimes the hard trance can be as hard as the hard metal. So
I love that. So, guys, I'm actually going to finish up with this last one.
I've got one more.
Okay.
It
Can
has
I
to
just
be.
ask the chat one, mate? I'm going to ask the chat one first.
No. Yeah. It
Batman
has to be done.
or Superman? And then Vin can ask this question. Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Okay.
As much as I hate Batman, I still hate Superman.
Go on, Vin.
Newcastle United or Ajax?
Ajax.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Love that. So Dutch, we're out of time. We've literally always goes fly when you're enjoying the conversation, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure so far, mate. I really loved it. If you could stay behind after the podcast, I just need a bit of advice from you, mate, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
But just gonna leave it. You've got a few minutes, mate, just for your window. Can you promote your channel, give some shout outs, and let people know where to find you, why they should find you, and if they're not, they're silly, basically.
What about that charity screen?
Yes. Yeah, so we've got a charity. So last year we did a charity stream, so it was 24-hour stream, and Pat did also one stream. This year we're doing a charity drive, so the collective are getting involved this week for an entire week's worth of charity streaming. Finishing off with myself and the General C on Saturday, Sunday, doing a 24-hour stream for Special Effect. So all week you'll be having streams for Villa Yorp from all the Dutch guys. So Vin and Pat, Emil, and everybody in between, as well as Stuff Sean. And of course on the weekend as well, on top of the rest of it, then you've got myself and Jen doing the 24-hour stream for Special Effect. So Villa Yorp is a charity for children with neuroblastoma in the Netherlands. So that's the guys that are raising for that, which is absolutely awesome. And of course, Special Effect is raising money to provide assistance for disabled children to be able to play video games in the first place.
Love that.
So accessibility tools and controllers and things like that. So making sure they're not left out and they can kind of join in with all their friends, disregarding any of their disabilities, being able to actually join in with them and have fun, which is absolutely awesome. So that's what we're going to be raising money for this week. On top of that, though, we'll still have our regular streams. So we still have on Tuesday, you can find us every Tuesday for what's known as Sea of Tuesdays Playcast, which is an interactive Sea of Thieves podcast every Tuesday. Every Wednesday is the Midweek Mix-Up podcast, which we're celebrating 100 episodes this Wednesday.
Fantastic.
And every second Sunday, we have the weekend edition for the podcast as well, which is a little bit more chilled out. We talk about pop culture in games and TV series and everything in between that we want to talk about and go off on little tangents. So, yeah, it's 3 main shows there. Of course, I personally am also part of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL on a Wednesday evening, as well as the World of Gaming with Box and Burger on every Thursday. So always doing something everywhere, but you can find me everywhere at Wondering Dutch. Of course, the stream's right below us there, so everything is linked there, and all links, including for the Twitch channel, are all on that YouTube channel as well, so you can kind of go in and find them there. But yes, only thing I would say is anybody who was thinking of super chatting this week, as they have done graciously every week, save that money, put it all to charity this week if you are intending to super chat. Don't send it to us, donate it to the charities.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So again, Dutch, absolutely really do appreciate you being here, mate. Honestly, it's been an absolute honor, mate. Thank you for all the inspiring that you do, mate. And you do so much for everybody. And I'm sure people don't thank you enough, but thank you so much, mate. I really do appreciate it. And Vin, Pinky, thank you guys as well for being here and helping out with this podcast.
It's been good to be back.
Give a shout out to Luna and Tater that aren't here this week, but they may be here next week. So all the best to them, guys. So yeah, thank you to everybody in chat. Really appreciate it. Been really interactive. The amazing Dutch, everybody. So thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate that. And yeah, all the best, everybody. Take care. So it's bye from us. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.